Hello, everyone. Welcome to Satsang with Stephen Wybrow and Eric Kaya, the Gnostic Takeover, taking back the earth. Wow, that's a bold statement, but we have here a beautiful gentleman, shamans, slayers of evil, and also two mavericks. Stephen Wybrow is also an investigative journalist, and he started a journey with 5G. Isn't that so, Steve? Welcome.
Exactly. Thank you.
So 5G, you started your journey how many years ago?
Well, I was studying at the University of Vienna, when I started to basically put my research into action. And I did that by writing articles for a local magazine, writing about the illegal wars of NATO in Syria, Libya, Lebanon, and Palestine. I was talking about the Israel-Palestine situation, which was completely new to the Austrian people because there's total misinformation on what's going on there. So then I moved forward to 5G in 2019. I toured through the whole of Austria. So next to writing articles, I started doing public presentations, not as an expert, but as a maverick, which is the biggest danger to the system. That's why it's so important to emphasize this to people, that we need to share our perspective of the situation. And when you pick up momentum, the source will guide you to take back the earth. And it's important that people, this is also something that has happened in my life, is to let go of all the people you think are above you. Let go of all your so-called, how should I say, your sort of idols. Let go of David Icke. Let go of Mark Passio. Let go of one you think is above you, because the truth is that I found out that the most powerful thing is when you believe in yourself. When you speak the truth the way you see, and when you become a conduit for the source, for source intelligence, natural intelligence, to express itself on this planet. And that, and only that, is going to make all the difference in this war against the Archons.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Steve. A true maverick. Another maverick, a gentleman, a shaman, is Errol Kaya. Errol, welcome. It's good to see you.
Hello.
Yes,
Yeah,
and your journey
you.
brought you from England to Austria. As a shaman, you felt compelled to come to Austria.
Well, I was basically brought here by natural order, the source, through surrendering to the process. I trusted, I went with it, and I ended up here. I didn't know I was coming and how I was coming, and I just ended up here. And the way the source operates is always, it's very maverick. And when you look back on the journey and see how all the events tie into each other, it's like an intelligent design. It's like an intelligent plan. This is a plan which the Archons cannot predict, because it only exists within the main core of the source of all creation, and it is only applied to reality at the right time when it's supposed to. So this is what the Archons cannot predict, because even we cannot predict. The only way to access this is through surrender to the source, to the will of the source, and this take you over and use you and guide you as an instrument to do its will. So that's how I ended up in Austria, doing what we're doing with Steve and Liz as well now, among us.
Yes.
bless her.
Yeah.
And we're at the right place. We're at the right place. We don't know how exactly the future is going to look like. We never do. However, inside here, okay, we know that everything is going to work out and is working out exactly the way it's supposed to. So
Absolutely.
we're in full trust, and we just continue doing what we're doing.
I love it that you trust the source and it guides you through your life. You listen to that gut feeling, intuition, and also the plant medicine, of course, which guides you
Which is of
as
the
well.
source of.
Yes, she's speaking to you, isn't she? Now, Liz, I have met the beautiful Liz as well. You saved her from the satanic network and her beautiful daughter, Leonie, another maverick, you know. What is Satanism? What is it?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
I would want to start with what it is not,
Yeah, that's a good way.
because you know what? Fuck them. You're done. Okay? That's all I've got to say about Satanism. I know what Satanism is better than these thickos do. Okay? The ones running the shit show. I know better about Satanism than you do about your stupid religion. So let me move on to the point further, to not bore everyone, because in actual fact, they're boring farts, these black magicians. All right. We've encountered the high priest of Satanism here in Austria. He's nothing. Are you hearing, Franzi Vogel? You're nothing. I will tell you right in your face. All right. And you'll be shown so, because we're taking over. We're in full confidence and full charge. So what Satanism is not and cannot manipulate, and it is very key we talk about this, is the natural intelligence that is the solution to all of the problems we have on the world. The problems we have in the world, as I said in previous interviews, is Satanism, but there's many angles to that, and I would say the problems in the world are based because of our ego consciousness. It's because of our lack of intelligence. And that comes from lying to ourselves. So what plant medicine does, and this is what I learned from Errol, this is the first sign of intelligence. The basis of intelligence is to say, I was wrong. I was very wrong. I was running away from myself, trying to think I can get away with it with my addictions, like smoking, like drinking, like eating meat, eating pork. That is not what moral code is. Moral code, morality, is the one defining parameter of this reality and of every reality that creation creates. It's the biggest secret. And it's the most simple knowledge. Know the difference between right and wrong. And this is where we can gain access to this intelligence through plant medicine. And this is what I learned from Errol. I got a calling from Mother Ayahuasca, and it needed quite some time with me also. I'm someone, I pick things up quickly and I learn quickly, but it took me months to get in tune with ayahuasca. I was resisting the process. So this is what true Satanism, and they've turned the whole world satanic. It's not just this cult. This entire society is satanic.
Yes.
And what they're most afraid of is us speaking about plant medicine, the responsible use of plant medicine, and the absolute end of their control system. That is when we partake in ceremonies with plant medicine. True healing for our species. That's the revolution. It's not going to be live streamed on London Real for you, because we're doing this interview right at the time where David Icke is with London Real again, Brian Rose. It won't be live streamed anywhere. The revolution is a revolution of intelligence. And we need to come to a realization that there is a far greater intelligence in our nature, and we need to access it and learn from the plant kingdom. Isn't that right?
Yeah, there's a far greater intelligence than Bitcoin, you know?
Yes, so true. You're always right to the point, Errol. I love it.
Yeah.
And you know, I felt the shift in energy, and you gave me so much light. Last year, the end of the year, I felt this amazing. I said, we have won, you know, it is already done. And that was because of you. In the news, we still hear all of about, you know, vaccines, variants, tests, and all this nonsense, but the work is done by you. Errol, how did you manage that?
How do we manage it?
Yes.
By enacting out the will of the one and only high source, which permeates everything, including ourselves. By staying rigidly focused and centered within it, through staying centered within ourselves and surrendering in full surrender to the medicine of the one and only high source, the truth.
Yeah.
Because that's the medicine, which we also refer to as the plant medicine as well. It's the same intelligence. So within full trust to that, we did action. And that's how this manifested. And all it takes is one, as Steve always says. All it takes is one, and there's more than one. So we've already won. So what we're looking at right now is they're doing everything they're doing right now because they've lost. So they have to do it. They don't just say, oh, we lost, let's shake hands and we're leaving, bye-bye.
Yeah.
They have to throw everything at you. They have to throw the whole board game at you.
Yes.
You know, they're bitter losers, like angry little children. That's what the demiurge is. That's what the archons are. Okay. It's game over for them. So the threats they're making now to society is their last threats. However, they're only just threats and nothing more. They're only real for as long as we consent to them.
Yes.
They're just threats. They're bluffing. They're nothing. So what they're doing now is their own. However, as you can see, we're sitting here in a hotel room and having this conversation, and there's no police or military at our door. Yeah. However, what we are seeing is they are arresting people who have been around us. Ain't that right, Steve? People who have been enacting in outside of the boundaries of the moral code. Yes. Immoral people. Yeah. So all the people who remain fixed within the moral code, they're protected by the high source, by the medicine. Always,
always, always. The truth always comes out. And that was my next question, gentlemen. The police, because we heard so many negative stuff about the police as well. What is their place now?
Well, I want to pick this theme up because this has just happened a few days ago. Yeah. The organizer of the festlins, all right, the demonstrations that happen every week, was arrested beginning of this week. And he was very close to us for quite some time.
Yes.
And he was arrested. And basically what this TikTok sort of thinking in our world, believing in a material creation, okay, materialistic creation, that this is all material.
Yeah.
That would now also mean that they're coming for me. Okay, because I've also been, they've sent me loads of fines. I've not paid them. I've deregistered from my address. I don't have an address right now. However, and everyone knows where we are. All right. It's just that we are experiencing directly right now what true protection really looks like by the highest source. So we can do whatever we want. We've even had police in the supermarket come up to Errol and say directly, you know, because we never wear any muzzles.
Police.
That was more the mafia high up.
Yeah.
mafia in civilian clothing, wasn't he? We'd like to take you in, but we can't. You see, there's no discussion about a muzzle or anything. It's just about taking you in.
We're not allowed to, he said.
We're not allowed to. Exactly.
Yes.
So unfortunately, I didn't experience that because I was just drawing out some money at the time.
Okay.
This is what's happening. So we see people getting arrested, and then you see the network that's around, that's all around, or that was all around us previously. Okay, we've busted that network now.
Yeah.
They're trying to get in contact with us, trying to pull us into the. So today I got a message from someone, also from the demonstration organization team, if I can hold a speech in honor of Florian, who's been arrested. You see, they try and pull you in again into the drama.
Yeah, yeah.
And what I said was, well, hang on a minute. You guys blocked me from your Telegram group because I'm exposing the pedo satanic criminal network. You blocked me because of that, because I'm exposing you also. I know who you guys are. And now you want me to speak suddenly. After blocking me on the group, you want me to speak.
Trap.
That doesn't sound right, but it's a trap. What they really want is looking into the camera right now. However, you can't have any of it because creation works very different to fart intelligence. That is Satanism.
Yes.
They really are a pure bluff, Luma. It's
Absolutely.
really important.
Yes,
They mind control the whole world to
Yeah.
such extremes that people, they are intimidated when they hear a high priest of Satanism. And yes, he can manipulate people on that level of perception very well, but they're nothing. Once you're in your true power, they're absolutely nothing. They run scared, they run away. And this is why we say we take over this planet. This is probably what the school of life is all about. To do, and anyone who does not talk about this is part of the problem.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yes, Errol, sorry, I lost you.
Archons colonize realms, so we come back in and we take those realms back and restore them back to natural order, the way they were supposed to be in the first place.
Yes.
That's
yes.
it.
Mm. Gentlemen,
we've already dealt with the high priest of Satanism here in this country, and as Steve was alluding to earlier. And yes, I haven't seen black magic ever in this lifetime to this level, pretty much high level, but for us, he was no match. His spells and his curses and his black magic, they really had nothing on us. No influence whatsoever. So they're nothing.
Yes, it is. You're talking about the high priest that's Vogel, yes? Francis Vogel?
Yep, in St. Corona in Austria.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you, Steve, as well, that name reminded me something, perhaps in Holland somewhere, Francis Vogel. But anyway, and he's a priest as well, like a normal priest, normal Catholic priest. And he revealed himself to you guys. But he did in ayahuasca ceremonies, and this is where he exposed himself to you, and basically you called him out. When you call those people out, they can't do anything because then they perish.
Nothing.
When it comes to light,
he physically attacked Steve, but it was nothing. Had no power.
Yeah.
From out of desperacy, he attacked Steve the day after.
Yeah.
But that had no power.
Yeah. And you took Liz with you and little Leonie to safety, and you thought we'll be safe in another place that I recommended.
Yeah, I want to straighten this out.
Yeah.
So that there's clarity in people's minds, because people seem to think that we took Liz and we isolated them and we're keeping them. There's a lot of people out there. We didn't take Liz and Leonie. Liz and Leonie they saw what was happening, and they
Yes.
chose to come with us naturally.
Absolutely.
So that's why they're with us now, because they know what is going on as well as we know what's going on.
But I never thought that. I mean, as a mother, you know, you want your child to be protected, and she felt, this is my sense, she felt it unsafe to remain there. And she woke up to the fact that her child would be sacrificed. So it's only natural to take yourself out of the situation and into...
Yeah, because everything was revealed through the medicine.
Mm-hmm.
The medicine showed her what was happening.
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
Absolutely. I have never done ayahuasca. I didn't feel comfortable with anyone to do ayahuasca. However, I've done, is it the cactus arrow? I forgot the name.
San Pedro or peyote? The round one or the long one?
I don't know. It was like a liquid, and the shaman that always did is a German shaman who always did the sweat lodge that I attended. He did it. He didn't like to work with the ayahuasca, but I went there because to have some questions about my personal life, let's say. But hearing from you, you know, the medicine is so sacred. You don't go with petty stuff. You know, this is not about petty stuff. It's about spiritual stuff. So the visions I saw was an older lady making fun of me. So she was sticking her tongue out, making silly faces. And basically then I realized after speaking with you, you clarified it. You know, the plant medicine is for spiritual stuff, you know, this material, everyday stuff. It is not to be dealt with.
No.
But I want to come now to the here and now. After, so the four of you are in a safe place, luckily. But how come there is so much resistance of people? Why can't they accept that two people can be save a lady and her child? Why is there resistance, do you think?
It's the power of the mind control program, the spell that's been casted on behalf of the Satanists on humanity. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Because only QAnon is capable of doing something like that, or an organization as such, not two human beings. They're not capable of doing it because of the program. And also we have to take into consideration a lot of these people are part of the network as well. So what they do is they come in and they try and install guilt in us to doubt what we did and make us feel bad, to bring us down to frequencies, so that to make us believe that, you know, we have captured a mother and a child and they have no place to stay, no safety. And who are we to provide them safety? And to make us think that the police is going to come in and arrest us because of such thing.
Yeah.
It's part of their trick.
Yes, yes. Yeah, Steve, because you're, of course, fluent in German and English. I saw your documentary yesterday with Liz in German. Liz was explaining very well, and my German is okay, but not that level. So she was, please, can you clarify something for me? The moon, was it moon dance or moon ceremony? What was that about?
Well, we're jumping quite gears. I might get to that. I just want to mention also coming back to the resistance, because I would also like to talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm even getting it from my own family. What you're dealing with here is not people, it's Wetika. Okay, so when the only way you can find out you're making a difference in this world, a real difference, is when everyone and everything turns against you. That's how you know that you're changing reality. That's how you know you're right on target. That's how you know you're taking down a whole pedo satanic criminal network. Yeah. The true power that we have is unimaginable due to it not being defined due to the infinite nature of our being. That's why. And that's why my family even turns against me. And that's totally fine, because I'm not here for them. I'm here to do this job. You see, I'm saying this because this drives right to the essence of our being. And that's why I am here also, because I said this also in a previous interview, I do my job to lose my job.
Yeah.
That's why I do my job. That's how I know I'm doing the job well. And I'm here also to clean up with the alternative media.
Yeah.
That's still playing with themselves. They're playing with themselves and are a big part of the problem that we have in the world. I want to ask the question to you. Do you hear anyone else except me and Errol talk about the takeover?
No,
Do
I
you
don't.
hear anyone who challenges the current control structure by saying this is our earth and we are taking it over because we are responsible for our home? Who speaks like this? Have you found anyone anywhere who says it with such clear determination and therefore creates that reality?
Absolutely.
No. And that's why, okay, I'm making this public also, we're not hearing back from Gareth Icke. We're not hearing back from Mark Passia. We're not hearing back to do an interview with Max Egan. All we get are excuses to not do an interview. And we are sick and tired. The only people who are interviewing us was the Alphabetic, amazing podcast. All right.
Yeah.
There's great people out there also.
Yeah.
And what we get also when we do interviews, people say we've got a superiority complex. No, this is a genocide happening to our species, and we've got the information to take over, and we need to share that information because that amplifies the magnetics. There is such a resistance to us getting our message out. It's unprecedented. And I just want to say this, to entertain and maybe influence the direction of this conversation.
Sure.
Because it is for a reason that we're having this talk right when David Icke and Brian Rose are meeting again for London Real for what is called the vindication.
To play with themselves.
What vindication? So what do you want from us, David? And I love David Icke. I've studied David Icke's work for many, many years. I've read 10 books of his, many of them twice. I've studied his work. So I'm not coming from a place where I'm critiquing David Icke for nothing. Vindication for what? We need to take back our planet, not be vindicated that you were right. That's not what we need. And that's why I want to entertain the thought. I'm not here to tell people what to think. I want to entertain the thought that there's a bigger play going on here.
Yeah.
With the alternative media perception loop, perception hijack. And that's what I think when you ask me, I really want to talk about this. Because this is a problem, okay? I'm sick and tired, Luma. I'm sick and tired while this genocide is going on, that my people are being lied to.
Absolutely.
They're being lied to. They're not offering any solutions. And all the time when so what's the solution? I just go into your heart. What is love, David? Love is taking Satanists down and taking down the network of pedophiles. That's what love is. And when you're a little bit loud, it should make you jump out of your seat because this shit is real. Now, who talks like this? Everyone's going round in circles. This is not acceptable on planet Earth any longer. And that's what plant medicine does to you by saying, Steve, raise your voice, because it's not a joke. This is not a joke what we're involved in. These people, when I say they're nothing, these people are sick. They're sick cowards, and it's time we take them to the cleaners. Sorry, I
Yes.
just had a rant. I wanna.
No, it's
This is
good.
perfect.
It's good.
Just as you were doing it, Steve, the Datura plant medicine, she just rose and I can smell her now. I can smell the Datura. I
Yeah,
can smell her now. She's coming out of me. Active again.
great.
This is the spirit of plant medicine.
Yeah.
She's mad. That's why we're mad.
Yeah.
How
No,
can you
you're
not be
not.
mad?
You're not mad. Perhaps you're upset because of so much hurt and the like you said the other day, how they beat the children with anything they have, sexual abuse, the offering of the blood, wars. You know, and we talking about tests all the time, or this politician said that, this nonsense said that, you know, just going in the loop. You said it a long time ago, Steve, in your episodes, and I love you for it, for the alternative media and then the mainstream media. They keep each other, you know, going round and round, going nowhere, basically. So since you brought up David Icke, yes, and I didn't even know he was on, only my daughter told me that we're at the same time we're having, because I thought it was yesterday. So my point of view of David is I like the work he did, and also exposing about child abuse, speaking about Palestine, which is also, you know, dear to my heart. But it is now more into the game. This is how I feel, of being popular, you know, getting a platform. Brian Rose wants to become mayor of London. And so this is my idea, you know, they want to keep each other, you know, like entertained in their media, entertaining people, basically.
I mean, if you become mayor,
Yeah.
as mayor, who do you think you're still working for?
Yeah.
You're working for the Satanists.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
as mayor, what was he planning to do as mayor? Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
well,
all a play. It's all a
it's
play.
play.
The
Yeah.
psychologists, they know how the psyche ticks and they know how to play the game of the psyche, you know, the mainstream, alternative, like together, how it works. They know how to maneuver it, and it's all a psychological game.
Yes, yes. It is like jumping from a flame to another flame, you know, the alternative media, from the mainstream to the alternative.
Yeah.
So the only way is to go forward is through it. So we have to tackle the problem. We have a satanic network that's abusing kids, that's abusing humanity. And the way is, you say, through plant medicine.
Through medicine.
Through medicine. There's many
Yeah.
types of medicine.
Yes.
And I want to go right now and point this out, that we stay there for a while. The Thunderbird, the eagle medicine.
Yes.
Big picture perspective. I want to contemplate, are we being played by Wetiko in the form of David Icke, in the form of Brian Rose and their connections to Alex Jones? The alternative media claptrap.
Yes.
I want to talk about what the Thunderbird medicine looks like there. So you've got a field, Wetiko, all right? This field, this mind virus wants to stay in power.
By the way, Wetiko is another word for spirit of evil.
Spirit of evil.
It's the
Exactly.
spirit of evil.
So what it can do is prolong the game for longer, because we're involved in the game of life, and it's like two players on the chessboard, as is beautifully described through, that was Patrick Wood, I think was his name, the whistleblower about Operation Looking Glass.
Project Looking Glass.
Project Looking Glass.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Wood was his name. And so we can put the link underneath in the description of that clip, because it describes the scenario of the dark and light forces. Sitting on the table, two master chess players,
Grandmasters.
grandmaster chess players, And everyone around and themselves, they also know there's only 7 moves left. So all Wetiko can do is prolong the game. Wetiko being the spirit of evil. It's a field. It's, as we talked about in the Alpha Vedic interview, it's a superimposed field or reality over this reality, a reality that we cannot see. We cannot see Wetiko, just like we can't see the Wi-Fi field.
Yeah.
And this field of Wetiko is the pedo-satanic criminal network, the one and the same. And there are many different angles of how they play this. And we need to contemplate from the and look at it from the very beginning of this crisis in 2020. From the very beginning, we had David Icke on London Real talking about the agenda. Now, where has London Real gone the last 1.5 years? I've not heard anything anymore. Where have they gone? When you look on their page, all they talk about is Bitcoin.
Yeah, doing business.
Well, Brian, when you talk about Bitcoin, you're playing right into the agenda. You see?
Yeah.
So let us contemplate the Thunderbird medicine here. And as soon as David did his second interview, all across the internet, censorship started kicking in a way never before imagined. So are we seeing a Hegelian dialectic here?
Yeah.
Where both parts, okay, the kickoff of the truth movement, oh, and see, finally someone's speaking about it, and it makes sense. The PCR doesn't test for this virus, and everything he talked about being played with the other side of the censors to censor the truth, okay? And I'm just putting forward ideas. I want to find out the truth, and if we're being played, because quite honestly, I do not wish to be deceived anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want no deceptions anymore. It's easier to fool people than to tell them they've been fooled,
Yeah.
as Mark Twain says. And we need to get to the bottom of it, and we need to be able to ask questions and question everyone, including us. Everyone's allowed to question us, obviously.
That's it. I do that. So yes, but you're so right. You know, you always have like an amazing helicopter view, as you say, eagle view. Yes, what do you think about it, Errol, this interview? Are we going anywhere? I mean, with David Icke and Brian Rose.
It's part of the entertainment trap. The way they like to do it is they know that they have created a society which is addicted to be entertained.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is entertainment. Oh, Icke and Rose is on. Wow, those two, you know.
Yeah.
So whatever they say has validity because it's Icke and Rose, okay, and it's an entertainment. However, once again, David Icke is telling people what is happening now. It's no mystery. He's not saying anything which is a mystery. It's obvious, which is fine. However, what is the solution? He doesn't talk about it. He talks about we have to stick together, come into the heart, and everything is love. Fair enough. But what is love? What does that mean? He doesn't talk about that. What does it mean? It's all action-based. So what's the action we must do? He doesn't talk about these things. So he just keeps going round and round in circles, stating the problem. At the beginning of the pandemic, they were doing this, and he was talking about that. And now they're doing this, and now he's talking about this. So it's nothing new in our eyes. Isn't that right, Steve? Yeah. And what the Thunderbird medicine is when you sit with the ayahuasca and you have a good connection with the ayahuasca, there's something called, you receive the Thunderbird medicine, which is eagle medicine. The medicine kind of pulls you out, pulls your consciousness out of the matrix that we're living in, and you look down on it from an eagle's point of perspective and view, and then you can see exactly what's happening inside the matrix and who is doing what, and how it's being played and how it's being done. It's like looking outside, looking into an experiment from outside of the experiments with super amplified goggles on.
Yeah.
And seeing the underlying dynamics of energies, not people, but energies, dynamics, sort of like, and then you contemplate from the Thunderbird perspective. It's like, oh, David is playing this card trick, and that plays in the hands of the controllers because now they're able to censor. You see, this is the sort of new perception. It's important to create a new perception.
And you see that David isn't even aware because he's been used by the field of the Wetiko, okay, because he's not aware. But however, the other person who's playing with him is more aware, and you see it all, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And that's why we want to give. You see, this is not about lambasting David.
No, I know that.
As I said,
Yeah.
I've studied David's work for years, and I love David's work. We need to all be questioned, especially when we're at the point we're at right now. We always need to upgrade our game. The alternative media or the alternative movement, freedom movement, however you want to call it, if we're not taking over and really ending this, we are failing. So we need to question each other and ourselves. It's the most important.
Because where we're at right now, especially, is we're at a specific point where the Wetiko field, in other words, the spirit of evil, is very strongly active right now on the earth, and it's in full harvest mode. So what it does is it seeks, okay, to see who's perceptible, who's weak in moral code, who's been traumatized the most, who's weak the most, who's in fear the most, all these weaknesses in all the humans. And whoever has a crack, it can enter and it can work through. Okay? And when you're not aware of this, it can easily work through you. That's why even us among ourselves, we constantly have to check ourselves and each other and our moral codes, and to see if we have any cracks or are we still strong, to keep ourselves free from intrusion and to be and not to be harvested by this spirit, by this force.
Yes, like you say, it is harvest time. January is known for that, but also you said harvest time for the good.
Of course, yeah.
Yes.
Your moral code harvested by the source, by the light.
The source, the highest source, will always protect you if you're doing the right thing, and that means protecting for now. You know that the right thing is doing no harm. Protecting yourself, but also the kids, you know, speaking up about it, shining light on darkness, not about the stupid PCR or Boris Johnson went to a stupid party. That's a deflection that's going round and round in loops. So, yeah, it's amazing. Always, you know, like you say, it's so therapeutic talking to you both, and you have so much insight. You know, you're much younger than I am. I don't know how you do it.
Plant medicine. Plant medicine, and the other medicine that's accessible to anyone is the ice cold water.
Oh yeah.
And breathing by Wim Hof. We do that every day. That's medicine. Yeah. Okay, and ayahuasca, you see the way it works, we have to always reiterate that. Ayahuasca and plant medicine calls you. It calls you. And you can also look up on the internet, maybe you find a San Pedro, maybe the San Pedro calls you, maybe you find it and you prepare it and you take it.
But it has to call you.
Yeah. It has to call you, yes.
I mean, just speaking earlier about this stuff, the Datura medicine activated within me, and I could smell it. It comes out of your pores, you know, your skin, and you can smell it. It becomes active, and you start decoding, and it starts protecting you, and you know the spirit of the medicine comes through you. says to you, yes, this is true, not this, you know.
Amazing.
Mm.
That's you're so in tune with the plant medicine. I used to go to non-duality meetings before this all broke out. And this gentleman, originally from India, I'm going to name names as well now, Tom Das. So I learned that
Who,
trick.
sorry? Who?
Tom Das. Tom Das.
Tom?
Das. D-A-S. Yes.
Mhm.
And the first thing he said was in an email, we're not going to hold a non-duality meeting if anyone has a sneeze or a cold. You know about this code. And he works in the NHS as well. So I said, you're talking about this, and then you immediately show yourself, you unmask basically. And I was so disheartened about they're talking but not walking the walk. Everyone
Sometimes.
showed their faces, and also in the yoga movement, the teachers promoting masks or what have you. You know, it is for me, I'm also quite happy because you see the truth.
Mhm.
Who is who and who has the moral codes.
Yeah, because
mean,
the medicine is now
yeah.
saying no more retreats, no more ayahuasca or medicine
Yeah.
retreats until you slay the problem,
Mm.
until you've dealt with the problem. And then, only then would it be possible again. Because right now the focus is on doing the job, the real job, which is getting rid of this network, getting rid of eradicating Satanism forever, kicking them off the face of the earth. That's the real work right now.
Yeah.
Not sitting in a ceremony in a retreat among 30 other people, seeing clouds and visions on ayahuasca. It doesn't work like that anymore. All that is over now. It's suspended till later notice. This is coming from the medicine, by the way.
And as Errol also keeps saying, no life is possible. Nothing is possible. We can't have any love. We can't have any relationships. We can't have any form of life unless we solve the problem. It's as simple as.
So all the life which we have and all the things that we have will be slowly taken away from us, taken bit by bit, until we realize, hold on a minute, we have to deal with this problem. You see, the source is showing us, look what happens when you don't do the work, when you don't face yourself, when you don't face the truth. When you're in denial, look what happens. You end up with nothing.
Absolutely. And it is also, Satanism can be in the family. So a lot of people protect the family. They don't want to talk about it. In my family, it is more with addictions. I wanted to talk to you about addictions as well. My brother used weed and then ecstasy and the techno house movement, you know, as Liz so correctly said, it is a takeover as well. So, and cocaine and what have you. But weed is also a sacred plant.
Cannabis.
So can you, cannabis, please, can you tell us a bit more about it? Because it's,
Okay. Well, I spoke about this the other day somewhere, didn't I? Cannabis is a very sacred plant.
Yes.
Okay, that's why they had to pervert it. It's the plant they had to pervert the most, you know, in society. Because you do not smoke cannabis. If you have a problem on a physical level, an ailment in your body, on a physical level, okay, it's very good at treating symptoms, physical level. So what you do is you ingest it orally, either like in oil form or in a tea. And then you do it ceremonially, and it can be just like ayahuasca ceremony, and it's very strong, and you can actually access every single cell in your body consciously and see where the ailments are and consciously fix them yourself, because you see your body light up like a temple. and you see all your cells, and you can see which ones are infected, which ones are healthy, and you can heal them all one by one. This is what you can do with cannabis, but not when you smoke it.
Yes.
And the way people are using it today is to avoid reality.
Yes.
It's escapism. So they become addicted to their escapism.
Yes.
It's not because they're addicted. They can't face the reality which they live in because they can't face themselves. So they constantly have to suppress themselves by smoking cannabis and getting the feeling of, oh, everything is good now.
And have the psyche tell them a story why that is okay. Oh, that's what I do. You know, everyone has their little this and that. And I know this from my own personal experience. People are running away from themselves. That's the biggest problem we have in the world. People running away from themselves. And as Errol says, before we fix that problem, there is no life. All right. You might, people listening to this, you might want to pretend you've got your love for your life and you've got your life worked out. That's all going to be taken away if we do not together fix this problem. This is only me and Errol doing this job. It's ridiculous.
I mean,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We need to look in the dark. I can't hear people talking about the new earth anymore. I can't listen to it anymore.
That's escapism.
We need to face the dark. We need to find, you know, it's a lonely path, okay? And we're allowed to be truly honest and real. This is a lonely path. It can't be the situation that only me and Errol have to freaking do this. Or are we the pioneers? I don't know. It's a job that needs to be done. It's by us. We can't do it for everyone here on the planet. Make an intention. That's all I did. I was all on my own. I was depressed at the beginning of the lockdown. I was depressed at home, feeling lonely and sad because they've made such a job out of humanity. They turned us into such a sick species where we use each other and call it love. It has nothing to do with love. It has absolutely nothing to do with love. They've screwed every single hermetic principle that life is based on. They've screwed with our minds so much that all I did, I had nothing. I had no money. I had nothing. And all I did was make an intention. I'm taking back the planet. And it's a hard road. This is how it looks like. We don't have a comfortable chair at home and our flat and things working for us. No. We live in a hotel room and we have no home as we're speaking right now. We're being attacked the whole time and we're being blocked from our own home, okay, by this dark force, and we're having to work through it. That's why we go to the ice cold water every day. But sometimes it's really hard for us. This is not always a nice experience, what we're going through. Absolutely. And we're sharing this openly because we have nothing to hide. We're not the tough guys all the time, all right?
Because basically, what this means is, what we're trying to say here is, there is no life for anybody until we fix this problem. Because for all the people who think to themselves, yeah, but I've still got my job and I can get away still to a level without testing or taking the vaccine because I don't have to go into an office and I have my income still and I still have a house, and it's not going to be forever. It's not going to be forever. They're coming after you as well. They're coming after all of us. Okay? I mean, we had to lose everything so that we can do this job. That's why we're doing it. We made the decision to lose it, to do this job, so everything was taken away from us. Since August, I was living in a hut at one point, and at another point I was living under the rocks in the woods at some point. And whatever it takes, I was willing to do. I didn't care if I went hungry. I really didn't care if I died. I just knew I had to do this. I surrendered. I gave everything up. I lost everything. I had one pair of jeans and between 4 t-shirts and 1 hoodie. You know, in Austria, where the climate really dips, especially now. finally, we ended up in a place called Saint Corona, and things started to change. So now we're at a stage now where we're in a hotel room, you know, at least we're not on the street. Okay, we're pulling through it. We're pulling through it. And the source has our back. It's not gonna, we can't fail. But I just want to let the people know that this is what it takes, guys. You have to be willing to be hated by the whole world. You have to expect, when the whole world turns against you, you have to accept that and be okay with that. And there's only one place you can put your trust in when that happens, and that's yourself. And that's the ultimate test of life, the source. It's all about whether we can trust ourselves, believe in ourselves or not. Unless we believe in ourselves, nothing will happen.
Yeah.
And I also want to point this out, the amazing support that we've had from our community, which I'm so happy to see, because it's not been easy, okay?
Yeah.
And this is what it takes, guys. You have to stand in the truth, the ultimate power. The entire world turns against you. And you stand there, and I'm going to stand in that truth no matter what. Because this is for the children. This is a war on our children. What they're doing to our species, you have to crush them.
Yeah.
And this is how much it takes for people to realize that we have to take them down and not be vindicated. Stop being entertained. We have to tell them where to leave. You have to tell you, it's not all to not comply. You have to command them to leave. It's enough.
Yeah.
And this is what the truth does to you. You start crying, and it's healing.
Yeah.
It's healing. Our Mother Earth deserves it. This paradise planet. And this is the reason why they censored me on all the demonstrations, because I would talk about the planet. I would talk about the real stuff. That's why they censored me here in Austria at the demonstrations. I got attacked like no one else, because I was talking about the real things, and this controlled opposition running the entire operation here at the demonstrations.
Sorry.
And then they were trying to set us up through those demonstrations. And at the right time, we got pulled out of the net. We're always protected, as I say. Their mission was to set us up as what statsverrägers, state deniers, basically, and put us away through something like the Freeman movement, for example.
Exactly. All controlled opposition. There's so many dimensions to this Wetiko net, and to have evil rule over this planet and continue to rule. But you know, we did nothing of that. No declaration of being alive, no nothing. The only thing you have to do, if anyone wants to bother you, you write them a notice, as you well also started to learn, and you press that claim, and they back off.
Basically, what they were trying to do to us was, they were constantly coming to us, trying to convince us that, oh, you have to write a letter to this bureau, and you have to quantify your name, and you need a special stamp, you have to get approval of this, and all this stupid stuff. Okay, when all we had to do was write them, well, I suppose you could call it a notice of liability, but in our case, what it was we were reading them their rights in our notices by telling them they're criminals, okay, and we are putting you away, and you are going to be charged of this, and this crime. I'm not a criminal, you are, you better worry about it. That's how our notices of liabilities were looking like. And when they pulled me into the concentration camp, that's what I did, and I walked out. Not by simply putting them on notice and saying, oh, I do not agree, and in victim mode. Because when you're in victim mode, you're complying, you're consenting, they can do it to you. But it's all about your attitude.
Yes.
When you're commanding them and reading them their rights, they're like, whoa, okay. That's when you see that they're all a bluff.
It's amazing. Can you please tell the viewers again? I know you told it many times now, but about your experience in the concentration camp and how you stood up for yourself and for other people as well in the camp.
Basically, last April, it was the first time we went to this place called Saint Corona. It was our first contact with the high priest of Satanism. And we were drawn to activate the magnetics of a pyramid there called the Pyramid of Grimmenstein. We did a ritual, the three of us, on top of the high point of the pyramid and activated the energies there. And then when we got back, it was made sure, because of that action on behalf of the Satanists, that I get arrested in the city of Linz. And I spent one night in prison, and then the next day they took me to concentration camp. And their mission was to vaccinate me and deport me back to England, basically. And there were, however, I did not comply with anything. I did not sign anything. I did not wear a muzzle. I did not accept any tests, nothing. They were really having a hard time with me, to the point I started circling around the office, because the concentration camp, you know, all the asylum seekers and the people in the concentration camp, they're outside, okay, and the office is in the middle of the ground. So I was drawing circles every day around their offices, just looking at them, and they were intimidated, obviously, thinking, this guy is crazy. What are we going to do with him? We can't keep him here, you know, he's too much. He doesn't wear a muzzle, he doesn't comply, and he's calling us criminals. And in the end, I just walked in there and I said, you can keep my passport and my driver's license. I don't need them, for they weren't mine in the first place. I'm a free human being born free of the land.
Yeah.
I belong to the land. I don't belong to the corporate state. I don't belong to you. You're a bunch of criminals. You represent a criminal mafia network, okay? You're run by Satanism, okay? And you're all complicit in genocide, okay? And I'm walking out of here right now. And when I come back here, I'll be coming back to read your rights. You're going to prison. And they were taken back. They didn't know how to handle that. And meanwhile, at the same time, I was telling all the other inmates basically what's going on. I was telling them, guys, by the way, don't you realize this is a concentration camp? We're all in a concentration camp. And they were like, huh? And I was explaining to them how the world works. And they were like, so how you getting out of here tomorrow? How are you getting out of here? And I explained to them, well, I'm just going to, I told them this, so I'm just going to walk out. And I'm like, can you write me a letter as well? And what do I write in the notice? And I was helping them as well. And there were more of them. So the following day came and they just had to, I told them I'm walking out. Steve came along with 2 other friends. And I just walked out and we just drove off, didn't we?
Exactly.
That's how simple it is. You have to stand your ground. You do not comply. You do not consent. So you have to command. You have to tell them who's in charge. You have to read them their rights, tell them that they're criminals, and tell them that you're free. You're in charge of your own life, and walk away. There's nothing they can do. And believe me, even if they get physical with you, okay, the source is so powerful. The way it comes through you is, it can give you the power to do many things, even physically defend yourself. It doesn't matter how many police officers, how many military officials, the source can empower you to do many things just with your bare hands.
Yeah. If it comes to that, but
if it comes to it, yeah.
Yeah,
but they know this. They know this. That's why they can't touch you.
Absolutely, but they sense the energy in you, and they were so scared they couldn't even hold you back. So
it's the spirit inside which they
Yes.
cannot handle.
Yeah,
It's the spirit inside which they do not have.
absolutely.
That's the authority.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
I love it.
yes, it was so amazing when you were saying you were educating others. I love it. I love it. You're educating us all the time. You know, you're saying that you're hated. It's not true. It's not true. Those people are scared. They're living in fear mode.
We've got an
But
amazing community of beautiful
yes,
beings there, and so appreciated. Absolutely.
and it's getting wider and wider, bigger and bigger, and helping each other and listening to your wonderful insights. This is what's all about. It's getting a new perspective, the eagle perspective.
And I
of
so
the situation.
appreciate it, you see, because also on our Telegram group, I get I get really amazing comments sometimes which make me reflect, and
Yeah.
that's what it takes. You see, we're you see, the basis of the manipulation is to think that you're a separate being.
Yeah.
We're part of the field too. Okay, there's a Wetiko field, the spirit of evil, but there is the original field. Okay, that is the source connection.
Life,
It's life unfolding and
spirit.
us being connected in the web of life. And it just means so much to me. It means so much to me because this journey is really putting us to the test, to the extreme, like not having a home for 2 months and saving a mother and a child from a satanic priest. It goes deep. Being thrown onto the streets at 9 o'clock in the evening, not knowing where to go next, having to ask my parents if we can stay for a night, and begging to stay for another night because my parents saying, yeah, we would like to help you and we can help you from the outside, but you can't stay here, it's too much. Yeah. And I know that it's too much. However, I just want it to end. I want to have a home. Finally, I want to have a home. Dear Source, are you listening?
You know,
We really deserve a home.
Absolutely.
If I had a child like a son who was standing up to the biggest problem in the world, I would give them everything they need to do it. Everything. See, before I came to Austria, I had to slay my own dad because the spirit of evil was working through him. And I had to slay it out of him. And obviously, when I did that, I became the bad person in my family. However, not long after that, I came to Austria. And now I'm doing what I'm doing. And my family is spending more time with my dad, and him getting worse in his situation, in his psychosis and his dementia. My family can see now why I had to do what I have to do. And now they're at the stage now where they have to do it with him too. That's how it works.
Yeah, but I would be so proud of you, if you were my sons. And I am very proud of you, you're like my brothers, and you have a home here. You're always welcome. But keep on doing the work. Don't, I know it's getting so hard and so tricky sometimes. You're really putting to the test over and over again. It's like a never-ending story. So what is the next step, you think? It's a cat here, by the way. I have a cat. It's not my cat even. It's my neighbor's cat, but yes.
Well, the next step is always the next day. You see, we're slaying the mafia and the entire Wetiko field just in our everyday life, because the pinnacle action has already been taken. I mean, who goes into a den of a satanic high priest and nukes the entire empire there at the high priest's place? That was the pinnacle action. That balanced the entire field already energetically.
It was the initiation of everything turns against them.
Yeah. That was the biggest job. So from now, it's all about bringing that energetic field into the material. Basically synchronizing it with this reality.
Yes.
Which looks like what's happening, what's going to happen next is this whole entire pedo-satanic network is going to unravel down to the detail, all of them. They have nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
And that's the very reason why they have to throw everything now. And it's unraveling in Austria, which is the center. It's the center of Satanism. And that's why they've withdrawn all their measures now all across the world, okay, which is another trick, obviously. However, they're bombarding the Austrian people more than ever now with mandatory vaccines, mandatory this, that, which is all a bluff, by the way, anyway.
Of course.
It's only your reality for as long as you consent. It's not our reality. They can't vaccinate me or Steve, you know, that's impossible. They can't even come to our door because they will burn.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is they are fully going to be revealed now at any moment worldwide, and the whole world is going to see them for what they are. And the world is going to feel sick.
A big bubble is about to bust here in Austria. Austria is the center of Satanism. It's unbelievable. The orders come from Austria to Israel, to the entire world. It's incredible. And that's the truth of the matter. And that's why, as Errol said, they're throwing everything at the Austrian people right now. And interestingly enough, in England, all the measures are being taken away. So there's sort of like this dynamic happening where they're appeasing in certain countries. I don't know how the situation is in Australia now. Okay, they're also still throwing the kitchen sink there, from what I know. They've gone full fascist. So there's different dynamics happening throughout the world. However, obviously what we've got in our sight is, how is it that there's a massive appeasement politics going on in England, where when we talk to Errol's mum, she's like having lunch and there's no muzzles and there's no testing and no nothing. And I'm like, what? Over here in Austria, you can't even move without a G, you know, these 2G, what they've put into effect. It's fully bonkers here. And yeah, they're throwing everything at us here in Austria because it's coming down here. And just as a note, just as a clear declaration to the Satanists, because they're listening to everything we do.
Yeah.
They're obsessed.
We want everything. There is everything is out in the open, revealed, and clock's ticking. If you've got another few days left, you're lucky. You're a lucky boy, Philip, Heinz, and all the rest of the shit show.
These are just lower level. But yeah, they all connect.
Tell your bosses I want to speak to all of their bosses. Because they're nothing. I'll tell them more about their religion than they know themselves.
So basically, what they have done to us is they've made sure, or tried to make sure, that we don't have a base where we can get good rest, good sleep, where we're warm, we have shelter, and we have a platform where we can do the work, we have connection, we can do our work on the laptop, to slay them, to reveal them, to unravel them. Because we're doing interviews now. Steve and Liz, especially, they have a lot of information in German to put out, which they're going to do. They're going to fully expose them.
Yeah, that's now the German channel. So that's good. Machtwechsel auf der Erde, change of power on the earth. And that's really good. And the next step is we get a new home. So we've been doing...
It's coming next week.
Yeah, it's under these circumstances, to do the job that we've been doing, we can be quite proud of ourselves, because we're holding the chart. And I think it's a result of the full magnitude of 3, you did 4, I did 3 ayahuasca ceremonies in St. Corona, and the integration phase. It's been unbelievable. We just did it. And the next thing you know, you're homeless.
Ayahuasca with datura.
Yes.
Datura. That is their biggest nightmare. Datura doesn't work with everyone.
It's amazing when you spoke about the datura. and the mixture, it is a special combination to slay them, and they are so scared of it. Not only they are scared of being exposed, of course, that's the first thing, when you shine light on them, but the medicine is poison for them.
A lot of them, we've been hearing that they can no longer sleep. They're having sleep problems, you know, they're not able to eat properly anymore. They're literally burning.
Yeah. They have to go.
It's
They
biggest
just,
ally.
yeah. I wanted to
biggest
speak
ally one can have is medicine.
as a medicine. Sorry, I lost you. Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, all good.
Okay, so the energy ley lines. You spoke about the pyramid that you were there in Austria. I want to speak a bit more about the ley lines and how the Satanists use the grid of the earth, the network of the earth, the natural network, for their favor. For example, football fields, stadiums are, in my perspective as well, used for that purpose. So you have opposing sides having friction, and that works into the grid of the earth. What do you think about that?
Yeah, there are ley lines,
Ley lines.
energy grids, basically,
Yes.
which run through the earth and across the earth, just like we have in our bodies, in the human body. You know, meridian lines, we call them, which Qi and acupuncture work on. And so the Satanists, they know where these special, specific key points on the earth are. And they have built their major cities on these most powerful, specific ley line points, which are basically vortexes.
They hijack them. They can't build nothing.
They
hijack the cities. So
from Tartaria.
They've hijacked them. Okay.
Yeah.
And what they've done is they've done their satanic rituals, like the churches, and they do their satanic rituals and their evil doings and biddings on these specific points to harness the energy of the earth, the sacred, divine, pure energy of the earth, to focus it, okay, and to invert its properties, and then use it against the people and the earth, to keep the earth in sort of like a bamboozle state, like in a sedated state. Okay. They put the earth and all the beings on the earth under a spell by doing this. They lower the frequency.
Yes.
If they hadn't done it, life would be much different on earth right now. Okay. It'll be thriving, it'll be rich, and the beings on the earth will be happy, and they will be in cooperation with each other, working together rather than against each other, and not in competition. It'll be very different. It'll be a paradise.
Yes.
But it's not, because they've been controlling the energetics of the earth for a long time, and we have come to that point now where that bubble has been busted. It's been busted because it's a signal, okay? And their signal has been intercepted by another signal, which is coming from the source of creation, the divine signal, which we call the new paradigm, the new earth, whatever you want to call it, the magnetics, which me and Steve talk about, which basically forms the Merkaba, okay, and flushes out what doesn't serve this creation and brings balance back to this creation. So everything is in balance again, and it's and so that it's better than what it was.
Yes. And you spoke about as well, you know, in Kazakhstan, a civil war. We don't need a civil war. It is that energy, that fresh energy can flush it all out.
Yeah, Max Egan likes the idea of what's going on in Kazakhstan, and he's advocating it. This is what we need everywhere in the world. No, that's civil war. That's not what we.
You see, but this is how the entertainment trap works. Suddenly you see it flare up, and then you hear politicians and police are fleeing the country, and you see, because they think short term. They don't. Max is an intelligent guy. I learned so much from Max.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was the guy who actually motivated me to talk about 5G and have that as a focus point of my work. Okay, so how you see the short-term thinking? No, you have to plan long-term. The whole earth, the whole ecosystem is based on long-term strategy and long-term keeping life in balance, letting life thrive. It's just that we have this sickness that we have to deal with, this cancer on the earth, the scum of entire creation. Everyone hates them. Yes. The archons, this tedious, pathetic force that every day you wake up on this planet, you're thinking, not again. The same program the whole time in other forms, and this twisted mindset. It has to go. I'm sick and tired of it.
You know, the worst part of all of this is when you really pop the bubble and you come out of the matrix fully and you see it for what it is. You look back and you realize that all the people who have been around you, your friends, your family, your loved ones, your partners, all of them, okay? They were actually strategically placed there as handlers to keep you in check so that you don't pop the bubble.
Amazing.
And that's how deep it goes. We had
to go through this, and we had to accept this. And that was when it really clicked. Okay, life on Earth is not possible for anyone right now until we get rid of this sick force and banish it forever. Only then authentic life will be possible, and all relationships and life will be genuine, and it will have quality to it. And people will feel it.
And I even had to tell my dad today that in actual fact, the biggest danger to me is coming from the family, from my own family, through my mother and through my brother, because of the nature of the hacks. They get hacked by Wetika. They think I'm the psychotic one. No, it's high-level intelligence that comes from me surrendering to plant medicine. That's why we call ourselves generals of the plant kingdom. That's the real kingdom. We're generals of the plant kingdom. That's real intelligence. And that intelligence has made me tell my dad today, I don't want to be with the family anymore until the job is done. You do not respect me as a human being. You don't. You try and pretend, but you want to change me. I will not change one bit because I am in my truth. And if that means I don't see my family ever again, I don't care. The only thing I care about is to get this job done. The only thing I care about is that not only your children, to all the people listening to this, that not only your children are entitled to an education, are entitled to have a good life. All the children on the earth are allowed to have that. And if there's one single child that's left behind, my mission has failed. I cannot live like this anymore. We have a responsibility of the children that cannot take this responsibility because they are children.
And it's weighing heavy on us, isn't it, Steve?
It's really weighing heavy.
Absolutely.
Why is it weighing heavy? Because it's building up, the pressure of it is building up for us to slay it completely from the root.
And so how do you not wake up? It's from this hypnosis. The world is under this hypnosis. And you're fighting, not only slaying them, the Satanists, but you have so much resistance. This is what I mean. So much resistance from your loved ones even. So much dissonance, cognitive dissonance.
Because the ultimate test, as I was saying earlier, was how much do you love and trust and believe in you, yourself?
Yeah.
People complain, I can't trust anyone now. Well, how about trusting yourself and see what happens?
Yes.
It changes everything. When you trust yourself, it changes everything. Now you're not dependent on them or anything else, okay? They become dependent on you and what you are doing, and they become affected by what you're doing and influenced by what you're doing, rather than you be influenced by what they're doing and being pulled down. Because it's a battle. They're trying to bring you down, you're trying to bring them up. But it doesn't work like you have to pull them up as they try to bring you down. The way it works is you have to recognize this one thing. How much do I love, trust, and believe in myself? That's the ultimate test.
It's the ultimate, and it's a big bubble to burst. It's a big bubble, really a big bubble. That's why we're being shown the way by the plant medicine. She's instructing us. We're being instructed, but it's a big bubble to burst. And it goes right back to the Hermetic principles. It's your will has to be stronger than the will of the entire world, because the entire world does not want things to change. They say they want things to change, but when it comes right down to it, they're not ready to let go of their comfort zone, which is the matrix. The matrix is the fishbowl syndrome.
You see,
Comfort zone. I hate the comfort zone. My entire being rebels against comfort.
we love danger.
Yes,
We love
you
discomfort.
sure do. My goodness.
You know why, Luma? Because that's true power.
Yeah.
That's true divine power of the one and only divine love. That's love.
Yes.
It's the power of the truth. Truth isn't good or bad. Truth is truth. It is.
It is. Yeah.
And your
I've seen
response
it.
to the truth determines everything.
Absolutely. I've seen you in your journey and slaying so many stuff, and I feel, yeah, so much resistance, but we're getting there. At least you're doing the work, and everyone on is also on their journey. But luckily we have a new generation, like, you know, Mark Passio. You learned from Mark Passio. Yes, you have natural law from Mark Passio. You learned from Max Egan. You learned from David Icke. But I feel it is, they handed over their baton over to you guys. So it's not against you, but it's they gave you a basis, and then you're flourishing now. You're handing it over. Let's say you're doing the work from that step. This is how I feel, you know. So and they have done the work, the basis. What do you think?
That's a very good way of seeing it.
Yeah.
That's a
So
very good way of seeing it. However,
yeah.
I had to be served a learning lesson, all right? So we also gonna serve them a learning lesson, all right? We're ready to slay anything or anyone and sacrifice them on the altar of truth. Because that's love. I love someone who slays me.
Of course.
Jeez, Errol slayed the shit out of me. And I was taken out for a few months, but that's why I love him.
That was a medicine. Blame them. No, it was all of us. That was your initiation process into what you are now.
Exactly.
Which is more powerful.
Yeah.
and you don't take it personally, which is so great. You know, I've got the Archon Slayer in my daughter, and she tells me every time, you know, Mom, you make too many excuses. And I say, you know, I love you more when you just tell me, hold a mirror in front of me and tell me how it is. So good on you, Errol. You kick his booty. Bring you back in line. Okay, so much to talk about. So I love the energy work of Mother Earth. She works always with you. And I've done also, of course, the cold water. That's really helped me. And being with animals helps me too. And it's I feel very sad what we have done to the animal kingdom. To see them with, you know, swimming with swans and then seeing a tag around their paws. Yeah, it really wants to make me cry. How dare we, you know? Or walking past a farmer where the cows and the calves are still outside in the mud without anything to eat, and they need to eat because otherwise they get ulcers. And I spoke to the farmer. I said, you know, the hooves are in mud. They get like affected by it. He says, yeah, no, they're fine. Don't you like a burger? I mean, this is and amazing that you, the one thing that you said, Errol, as well, is farmers. Lots of farmers are Satanists.
Yeah.
Yeah, that opened my eyes. So
big decoding.
Have to be hidden in plain sight, the farmers, because it's all about the harvest.
Yeah.
They're in control of the food, you know, how it's grown, and they're responsible for it. They consent to Monsanto's evil doings with the seeds and everything, you know.
Yeah.
They're well hidden as farmers. Francis Vogel was a farmer, the high priest of Satanism here in Austria.
Yeah.
You know, 1 minute he's just this farmer in a house who lives connected to the church, and next minute he's revealing as a priest, okay, in his uniform. And at first he had this one rundown minibus, and the next thing you know, he's got another car, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, he's got a brand new minibus. These guys have connections, you know. They don't mind living in rural areas on the mountain, on a basic farm, pretending to be farmers. You know, these guys are connected to the whole World Wide Web.
That is the background structure of this control system, which we only got to know through our own experience. This is not written in any book.
No,
we're gonna write that book, because it goes into it's like the stage that they present to you, and then you go backstage. It's a fascinating story, and it's amazing.
So they put the city of London, you know, capital Washington, DC, the Vatican and the church and the royal families of the world and the aristocracies in the front line, so that, yes, they are a part of the network. They're a wealthy part of the network. They're big players in it, but they're there to take the hit, so that when it comes out, people don't question beyond them.
Yes.
The real orchestration is coming from behind them. People know nothing about them.
And we've only found this out through our own personal experience, and a farmer standing in front of us, like staring us down with you're basically looking into his eyes, and you're looking at the demiurge. Satanists, black magicians, farmers staring us down, and then going over to Errol. What's this ring for? What's this ring? Yeah, black magicians, high level. Those are the people that run the earth. Farmers. Who'd have thought it? Of course, the hidden control structure. But you only get there because of the intention, the telesta, the aim.
They really hate it when you discover this. And even though we've discovered this, they can't do anything to us.
No.
They can't do anything to us because of our protection. The only thing they can do to us is what they've been doing till now, is intimidation and making sure that they're basically letting us know that, look, we're everywhere. We control the housing. You can't get a house. This, that. I mean, there are people in the network who we've known for more than a year now, which we didn't know who were a part of the network first. They were giving us this, they were giving us that and everything, and keeping who they really were as a secret, pretending to be friends and for us and helping us. Now that we've discovered who they are, they're nowhere to be seen. And we've discovered that some of these people, they own the biggest, they're born into the family that owns the biggest construction site in Austria, the housing construction site. Now they know we're homeless. Where are they now to help?
Amazing. Yeah, but they are the ordinary people, your teachers, your doctors, your, as I told you, because we've been communicating on and off, Steve, and you're always very genuine, you know, you're what you see on the camera is off camera as well. So, and as I told you before, with Mark Passio, lots of things I learned from him as well. Is you start to see the truth. Like I was hiring a room in a park, and suddenly the director wanted to speak to me, and but it doesn't go through him. He just, you know, the manager rents out the room to me. So I was speaking to him. He wanted to talk to me, and I basically wanted me to suss me out. And I said, well, actually, I'm also a historian, not only yoga teacher, and I speak about 9/11. And it was like, oh, okay. And then suddenly the conversation ended. But what happens is in that park, they have a grotto, and they do often after hours meetings. And then it started clicking with me. Oh, they do satanic stuff there. And he wanted to make sure if I, you know, was wanted to participate or something. So it is like ordinary people, parks, teachers. I know my daughters used to go into a satanic school. Afterwards, I heard about that they did the Ouija board. So, and that was a Catholic school.
That's the worst.
Yes.
Catholicism is Satanism. The church is Satanism. It's the religion of the demiurge. You know, it's a mockery to Gnosticism and shamanism and the true people of the earth. The church. That's the problem. And it's pure Satanism. And I say this, and I don't care. I speak to them. I'm here right now. What are you going to do?
So one and the same, and it really goes down to, I just had this encounter last week. I gave a German interview, okay?
Yeah.
And the one, so he was baptized 2 months ago. He had his baptism again, and baptism according to this woman, and she's so great, and Jesus Christ and all that. And suddenly, after a few days, I was like, so why are you not uploading the video? What's going on? And he's like, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Tomorrow came, and suddenly he's like, oh, yeah, there's a problem. And I'm like, oh, yeah, see, there we go again. There's a problem. Of course, there's a problem. Yeah. And it was, guess what? The information about ayahuasca. They hate it.
They hate it.
It's
guts.
such an, that's why we talk so much about this.
Yeah, yeah.
Plant medicine, they really hate it, meaning they're demons, they're possessed by demons. Free Christians who know that what's going on with the church is not good, so they are free Christians believing in Jesus Christ. It's been throughout history, the difference between Gnostics and mind-controlled people. And Gnosticism is, we say Gnosticism to it, but it's actually just the natural intelligence of the earth.
It's natural order. It's knowing. It's innate knowing and gnosis through natural order and natural state of being, in connection to the source of the one and only truth. Yeah. It's shamanism. Yeah. That's what it is. It's not a religion or a belief system or an organization, or it's nothing like that.
And we're
Absolutely.
bringing that back into the world.
Yes. I heard about the Freemasons, you know, they have the symbols, triangle and a G in the middle. The G doesn't represent God, but it means gnosis. So the knowledge of the self.
All hijacked.
All hijacked, exactly.
Mhm.
They misuse everything. So you have the ordinary people who are part of it as well. But are they in a trance? Can they be untranced, let's say?
Yeah,
Altars.
but first you have to give the entire signal the chop.
Yeah.
So what we did energetically, you see, you have to first do things on an energetic level.
Yeah.
Through the use of ayahuasca medicine, like we did in St.
Yeah.
Corona, and then you synchronize it down you pull it into this reality, basically.
Plant medicine does work on altars, which are created by the Satanists through traumatizing their victims. It does get rid of the altars and unprogram the altars. However, we're at a stage now where it's too late to focus on individuals, to do ceremony for certain individuals to get rid of their altars. So
Yeah.
now it's all about cutting the signal which operates through those altars, the spirit of evil.
And that signal was cut energetically in St. Corona. So now we're synchronizing this with the workings of this new signal on the material plane, on the reality that we experience. And that comes in the form of confronting the Satanists directly and put them on camera admitting to the crime that they did, because the entire control structure, this is key, the entire control structure is set up for them to never be found out.
Yes.
And then questioned, because once they're questioned, the program breaks down. They cannot hide it. They can't lie anymore. And then they will admit to the pedophilia, to the Satanism, and you've got it on camera. There's your evidence.
So our next step is we have a list of people who are in the network. We are planning to go and question. First of all, do it officially, properly, in a human way, get appointments from them. If they refuse, just directly go anyway and just question them on camera, because I know how to question them, and Steve does as well. When you question them, their altar has to break down. Yes. Because you keep putting the pressure through questioning. You stick to the question. They're going to try and deviate, but you have to stick to the question. And eventually they show signs of breaking down. They start getting angry. And then eventually they reveal and break down and start admitting some things in their anger and in their breakdown. And once you've got all that stuff on tape, that's evidence right there. Because right now they're mocking us and they're saying, "Where's your evidence? Where's your evidence?" Right, okay, you want evidence? We'll give you evidence.
And you see, this is the true work. You're not going through any court system with that. We can do that too. That's why I learned law for mankind. We are the law. Yeah. We are the court. You see, you bring it right to them. And then after they start singing, all right, and they will, because their program will break down, they will reveal, you've got the evidence, and the next thing is, give me all your contacts. Then from the network level, you get into the political, and then it gets really interesting.
Then the corps.
Then we want they will have all the contacts to the media organizations. Then we'll go on the media. We'll go to the political. We tell them all that it's over, and everyone has to speak now.
And we say this so that they can hear. We're speaking to them as well at the same time, so that they know that we know, because they know that that's how it works.
Yeah. And that's direct intel and instruction from plant medicine, from the plant kingdom.
And every time I'm dropping a truth bomb here in this conversation, the Datura, the spirit of Datura I can smell her and feel her like bubbling inside of me. Like, yes, yes, yes. Good point. Good point.
Excellent. Excellent.
Confirmation. Yes, you're on the mark. Yes.
Yeah. You know, they've not only misused the plant medicine, they gave us, or not me, but alcohol. Alcohol is another spirit. That's why they call it spirits, because they're messing up with our connection to the higher source. And it is funny that people have such an issue with the plant medicine, yet alcohol is freely available.
I wonder why.
Yes, exactly, and does
Yeah.
more damage. So
They also had me with alcohol, just with beer, but they also had me.
You slayed it.
Yeah, and boom, through plant medicine.
Yeah.
yes, yes. And no, I heard many people who were alcoholic did the plant medicine and it really helped them. So they stopped it. Well, what a journey, guys. So keep me informed, keep us informed. And I love your videos and also your German videos. So that one thing, please. Can you clarify what I've missed about the moon ceremony?
Oh yeah,
With Liz?
of course.
Yeah.
So what's very interesting about these is that, not about Liz, about this, is that there's, you see, with Liz, this is where Liz comes in. It's very interesting. She's got a lot of experience she can speak about with alternative communities.
In Austria.
Yeah, and there's a big Wetiko hack there with alternative communities. Massive, massive. All the infiltration, it goes right to the heart of alternative scenes, alternative people, all these communities. They're not what they pretend they are. Far from it. So she can give a lot of intel there. And she talked about these moon ceremonies that go on. These were specifically for females, okay, for women that come together, women's circles, and they partake in these ceremonies and moon ceremonies whilst the children are somewhere else with someone who takes care of the children.
Yeah.
And the children then cry for their mummy to come back. So that's basically the ceremony for the children being traumatized right there with these moon ceremonies. And it's pure occultism.
Putting spells on them.
New Age is Satanism. It's the same program. And these people are also being given the chop, because Gnosticism wipes all of that clean. All this New Age spirituality, all this bullshit. It all needs to go. It has created so much havoc on human society up to the point where, yeah, we're absolutely messed up as a species, but we are a lovely species. Underneath all that pain and suffering, there's a beauty inside humanity, and that's what we want to see thrive and invoke.
Absolutely. Thank you for clarifying that, Steve. Speaking of the New Age movement, I know we've been talking a long time, but I wanted to share about my experience with Eckhart Tolle. So I loved his books, The Power of Now, although he said, they told me to put that on the title, although I didn't agree. So, but it's your book. And who's they anyway? But so I went to the Albert Hall with my daughter to see him, and it was such a weird experience. It was in summer 2019. It was like the movie 1984, where everyone goes in and sees the master, let's say, and was listening to the leader. Everyone was like in hypnosis. It was so scary, and my daughter and I were the only ones who left, because I said, this is too weird energy.
That's not a human being you're looking at there, it's an entity.
It was exactly.
They have the capacity to put you in a trance collectively as well, and mind control, spells. And the message is, don't worry, just be in the moment. Everything is fine. It's all about the moment. Do nothing. Never mind about what's going on around you or the Satanism. Just be in the moment.
Yeah. No, don't speak about Satanism. No. It's too negative, guys.
Yeah.
It's too negative. But that was such an awakening. Yeah, my daughter said, no, I can't stay here even, you know?
And these guys are backed. They have books
Yes.
which are published by the masses. They have
Oprah Winfrey.
platforms and they're supported
Yes,
by
Oprah
the
Winfrey.
lobbyists, by the satanic lobbyists.
Absolutely.
While people like us,
Mm.
this, you know, we're trying to get the message across here.
Yeah. And
You are-
we're
you are-
succeeding. It's
you
been a
are.
lot of resistance, as you talked about, lots of resistance, but it's getting through. It is getting through. And yeah, I just again want to compliment and thank the entire community for being there for us, because as you saw today, I'm happy to get emotional because I feel the Mother Earth strongly.
Yeah.
And my passion is a lot also with humanity. You see,
Yeah.
I care a lot about humanity. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. And she feels very grateful. We all do feel very grateful for both what you do, your insights, for Liz, for Leonie as well. Thank you so much. We have to do this again, you know. Oh yeah, by the way, I wanted to thank you as well for Mark Devlin. That was a great interview. And I've seen him. I went to his talk about Satanism, and it was in a pub. No one was wearing a mask. Everyone was talking, hugging. Kids were there, you know, and they do speak about Satanism. You know, the people were saying about we need to save our kids. So the message is there.
And Mark Devlin is a fantastic guy, really lovely guy.
Sure.
Yes. So there are people who really support your work. And Alpha Vedic was also fantastic.
So they were great. They were great.
Yeah, great guys. Thank you so much. I wish you well. Keep in touch, and all the best. So people can find you in the Gnostic Takeover on YouTube.
Yeah.
And the German channel is there as well.
Yeah. It's you find it underneath in the description.
Okay. And how can people support you? Also, it's on your Gnostic.
It's always underneath the videos. You can support us with a donation, and just doing the great work. That's the best support one can give, is participating.
And what can the last advice for people, or advice, feedback for people in their daily life? Is there someone? Hello.
Well, as I was saying earlier, this is
Leonie.
Leonie.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, this is Leonie.
Sehr hübsch. Hallo, grüß dich. She's so pretty.
Maybe we can ask her what her advice.
Yes, please do.
Was würdest du den Menschen gerne sagen?
Komm.
Was willst du
Hallo.
gerne sagen?
Be happy, smile.
Too shy,
All right.
too shy.
Too shy. No, she's lovely.
Well, as I was saying earlier, my advice was now's the time to trust ourselves. Trust yourself. Believe in yourself. Love yourself.
Thank you.
And make a discipline of that. Merge with the elements. Merge with the planet. That's the love for yourself is the love for the planet. It's one and the same.
Exactly.
And go in that ice cold water. Merge with the elements. Make a discipline out of it. The discipline. It's all about the discipline and showing the source that you're ready. And it's a hardcore choice. You want to stop playing with yourself. Stop the entertainment trap and just doing this truth business as an entertainment, as mind juggling, you know, and just entertain the mind. No, I want to find out about our true history, but I can't because I have to deal with this problem.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you again, and keep well. Bye, Leonie. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Immer nur